probably I'd say it's the greatest snack ever created.
Oh, no, that's you.
That's me. Oh, thanks, Lee. Thank you very much.
I wish this was actually going on a podcast. Unless we just started here.
You could just tack that on at the end.
And I could just start it here.
Oh, we
Talk
may as
about
well just
popcorn.
start here then, maybe. Why
Yeah.
not?
So, John.
Hello, Lee.
Hi. Yeah. Now we're starting.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yep.
How are you, Lee?
Tired, but what the hell else is new?
Well, I know you did say that to me when I got out of the car. I was going to say this morning about we'll say about half an hour ago when I arrived. But no, it's you're back to work at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah. Working fucking 12 days straight this week.
Good lord.
Hell of a week.
Yeah. I'm back to work myself at the theatre.
Yep.
But I have been for since the beginning of the year actually, really. But I always say like, it's been starting to get a bit more regular now, and the shows are starting up again. And actually, as well, at the time of recording, it's COVID Freedom Day.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, yes, all legal restrictions have gone. So we're just living with it now.
Yeah.
You know, apparently.
So I've been living with it for 2 years now.
We've been living with it for 2 years, but I guess now is the time where Bob Morris and the government have just decided let's
take off the mask, literally.
take off the mask and get back to it as well. And also as well, I know we said we weren't going to mention it, but you've got to, I suppose, under current circumstances. Yes. Obviously, on a more serious note, Russia, of course, have invaded Ukraine, and I'd just like to say, if anyone is listening to this who is in any way connected at all, whether it be family or directly with people in Ukraine, our hearts go out to you, and we hope that nothing really horrifically awful
bad happens.
Really awful happens. So let's just hope everything calms down as soon as possible, and a peaceful resolution is resolved. It's scary times, isn't it?
Yeah, I've just put a thought in my head and I hate it. I just had the perfect segue to get what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Speaking of wars.
And speaking of war.
So, yeah, that's a rough segue.
That was one, wasn't
Lee,
it?
cut that out. It's not going to cut it out.
No.
Not even going to listen to this. I'm just going to post.
No. It's a perfect segue into it.
Yeah, so I got John to watch one of my actual personal favourite films, Summer Wars.
Summer Wars, yes. We're back to anime.
Yes, I'm back on my weep shit.
Good lord.
There's a lot of it.
Oh, there's so much of it. Oh god. I tell you what, like, people listen to this, you'd better be into anime and like weep stuff, because I don't know what else you're gonna do. No, yeah, I watched. Lee got me to watch Summer Wars, and yeah. So it's one of your favorite films.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when did you first see this, and what was your exposure to it, and what have you?
Here's a funny thing. So the director, Mamoru Hosoda.
Yes.
He directed part of the first Digimon movie.
Oh, okay, right.
Wow. It is basically the plot of Summer Wars.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Right.
So a virus Digimon gets in the internet, tries to blow up, set off nukes and stuff.
Oh god.
And then two of the Digidestins go in there, Digimon into the internet.
Right.
And when everything goes to shit, all these people are like, "Come on, we can do it!" And then power of friendship and shit.
Yeah.
It's roughly Summer Wars.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this guy
he made it as an OVA for Digimon, and then decided like 10 years down the line, I was like, I've got a good story.
Yeah, let's just do it again.
Yeah, just bigger
with a new lick of paint, basically. Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
So that's kind of my first exposure, was the Digimon movie.
Okay, I mean, do you know something? Now that you say the Digimon movie, I don't know if I've seen the Digimon movie. I mean, I might have done when I was a wee child, back in the day. Because I remember it was on a network called, I don't know if anyone's I'm really showing my age here. Toonami.
I'm going to show you age even more. It was called Fox Kids before that.
Oh, Fox. oh, God. Well, I remember Fox Kids.
It was Fox Kids before Toonami.
Fox Kids. Fox Kids, and then Toonami. And then I think there was something else. There was Boomerang.
Boomerang was like old shit. So it was like Tom and Jerry,
Looney
Flintstones, old Looney Tunes. Yeah.
Yeah, like proper
Scooby Doo, like the proper early Scooby Doos.
Proper old cartoons, basically. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, no, I love Toonami. Toonami was great because that was when you saw like the Justice League animated series.
Yeah,
which is fantastic, by the way. Still fantastic. I mean, if you revisit it today, it still holds up. Like, the writing is incredible.
A lot of kid shows from the 90s do. Batman does.
Oh God, yeah, the Batman animated series was good lord, that was fantastic, wasn't it? And of course the movie that came with it, was it Mask of the Phantasm?
Yeah.
A lot of people still cite that as like the best Batman movie. I know that a few of my like close friends who were into that sort of stuff, like they rate it quite highly as well. And of course, Return of the Joker,
Yeah.
Batman Beyond, like it's all a continuation of that stuff. That is still fantastic. They were just on another level, man. Like cartoons in the 90s, weren't they, basically?
Yeah.
So like I may have seen the Digimon movie.
Possibly. I mean, I used to love Digimon. I still love Digimon.
Digimon, yeah. It's because I even remember the theme, like Digimon, digital monsters.
Digimon are the champions.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple of years ago they re-released them all on DVD.
Oh really?
Yeah, my partner got me the first 3 seasons on DVD. I was so happy. I was sitting there just in awe of childhood nostalgia. Still cheesy as fuck, but oh my god.
Oh yeah. It's
It's still going, Digimon. It's still popular.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a series out now. Unfortunately, it's like Japanese dub, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't seem to get into it.
Right.
I think it's because I grew up with the cheesy English dubs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just can't seem to get into the new stuff unless it's translated.
I mean, as much as I remember watching it, I can't remember any of the characters, really, apart from that orange dinosaur.
Oh, Agumon.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I don't remember because it's basically Pokemon, isn't it? But like
It's based off Tamagotchis. That's where it came from. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's based off Tamagotchis. Good lord.
Because Bandai made their own sort of Tamagotchis called Digimon.
Bandai, yes. Oh god, remember Bandai? Jesus, that was like the thing that Bandai made Power Rangers as well, didn't they?
Yes, they had a hand in that for the animated stuff. Well, no, I mean their live stuff.
The live stuff, yeah. They made like the Power Rangers toy.
They made the toys and the
This is going back. This is right my really early childhood when like it was dominated by stuff like that, like Power Rangers, even Digimon, Mega Man. That was a thing as well. Do you remember Mega Man?
I remember Mega Man the games. Yeah, I can't remember
the games.
the cartoon.
There was a cartoon, a Mega Man cartoon. Yeah, and it was basically this. Now that I think about it, it's like all of that like Japanese imported cartoons and stuff like that. They all like revolve around the same thing, don't they? Like it's got like this kind of futuristic society that all revolves around children or people having like avatar friends.
Yeah.
Or like avatar friends who are like whether it's in a game environment like Mega Man or whether it's like real life like weird creaturey things like Pokemon.
They made an animated Battle Network. Yes. Okay,
yeah, like Pokemon, Digimon, Beyblade.
Let 'em rip.
Let 'em rip. Yep. That was another one. Which was like a similar like again. We spoke about this before on a previous episodes, but the whole like tournament thing.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Exactly. Oh my god. And there's another one as well that I'm thinking of, which was like a more obscure one. It was like Megabots.
Yes, Megabots.
Yeah, Megabots. That was another thing, which was again the same thing, but it was like with robots. Like every kid had their own robot and stuff. Like it's very like it's all when you dissect it, it's all like really quite similar, you know. And it's they like telling the same stories. It seems, and you kind of get this, and of course. He wrote Summer Wars, as you just said. So, yeah, I mean, Summer Wars, it's 2009 this came out, yeah? Right. And
I think I saw it in 2011, 2012 maybe?
Right, and he just wanted to do basically the same story, but with...
Yeah, he just wanted to tell, like, his story and, like, tell a story. But, yeah, the basic premise is the Digimon movie, which he directed.
Yeah.
Me and my friend Andy, we joke every time a new film he makes up. So, we're going to go see the Digimon movie again. Because near enough the same. Belle was similar. Right. Belle had a whole metaverse-y, everyone's got their own avatar inside the internet.
I see. Yeah. I mean, when this movie started, I was kind of like you kind of forget about the similarities between this and like all the other movies, but it's like one thing that struck me was that it seems to be because it came out in 2009, so of course the whole premise of like digital avatars and like the internet sort of like ruling everything was kind of a new concept, ish. you know, around about that time.
Yeah, it was like it's a very nice look at the future for avatars and stuff, not like bleak. Or he's like McDonald's making their own NFT burger you can buy for something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not corporate.
No, it's not. It's not corporate.
It is one big corporation, but it seems more friendly than having like Facebook's metaverse.
Yeah, God, it's crazy, isn't it? But but that's it though. It's like that is what struck me about it. It was like it's kind of like a strange precursor to what would be to come in the next decade.
Yeah.
Because I've always said, I've had these conversations with Jordan, who's like a mutual friend of ours. I always say to him, like, you know, I think the 2010s was such a turbulent decade. You know, with all sorts of things to consider, you know, like whether it like politically and all that sort of stuff. But like one of the biggest things was the rise of the internet.
Yeah.
And the rise of social media. You know, because like that, like 2009, 2010, that is like the time when social media exploded.
That's when the boomers got involved.
That's when the boomers got involved, man. You know,
changed Facebook forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's when, but that's it though. That's when like suddenly everyone was able to express what they think and give their opinions and like represent themselves in a digital space. You know, and that's when like these corporations over the last 10 years, like 10-12 years, they've gained so much power and influence that like Jeff Bezos is now sending William Shatner into space.
He did send Shatner into
space. He did send him into space, and you know,
and he came back, unfortunately.
God.
Should have just kept him in there.
You're not a fan of William Shatner?
He's not a nice man.
Is he not?
He is not a nice man.
I did not even know like what this is you're referring to.
He's a very sexist man, very yeah.
Oh well, he's a man of the time, isn't he? I mean, you should have seen the way. I mean, we all knew that this was coming. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was you know, of Captain Kirk. I mean, you see what he does like back in the 60s. I mean, he's a man's man, isn't he? you know.
Give me the Chris Pine Kirk.
Oh God. Oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I did enjoy that. Anyway, but you know, that's the sort of thing that like of course when you see in the movie like what happens ultimately when the internet gets taken over by Love Machine.
The big super virus.
The big super virus, and that of course
a big American super virus.
The big American super virus. That is one thing that really did strike me at the end. It was like, oh right, okay, we're doing this, are we? Which I found quite funny. It was like at the end, it's like so the U.S. government is going to be held responsible, and they unleashed like this terror onto the world, and I thought, that's still better, aren't they, the Japanese, really?
I mean,
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be too.
You're not be.
That would be too. Oh my God. I just found that so funny. It was like, yo, you know, because for so long I kind of forgot that like that Love Machine was technically an American. Well, it wasn't an American creation.
No, it was
a Japanese creation because what's his name? Uncle what?
I can't remember the uncle's name now. It's gone totally out of my head.
Yeah,
but he's the uncle of the film.
the uncle who appears, and you're like, he's very clearly meant to be like the antagonist of the film, but yet there's something about him that you can't help but feel like, oh well, is he like the villain? You know, because like there's the attraction there from like one of the main characters, the girl whose name I forget. But luckily, Lee, I just picked up the other Blu-ray box, which was just placed right next to me, and I will find her name. So when Natsuki, yeah, when her like initial attraction and like sort of like she likes Uncle whatever his name is. And you're like, oh well, if you know, I mean, is this just like a girl just being like naive or something, or like, you know, just attachment, or?
I think it's like an attachment thing, but I think it's just she's slightly just old, like too old for this attachment.
Yeah, it's
a very still like childhood attachment. But
yeah,
it's like, yeah.
There was a slight uncomfortableness about it, wasn't it? Really, it was like oh, you know. I mean, there was a few moments like that in this movie where I was a bit, you know, like what actually is going on here? There's a lot of like, there was a slight incestuous undertone going through it, you know, and I was like, because it's not like it wasn't just that. It was also because I mean there was a bit where like they're all like, oh, like oh, she's upset because Uncle Thingy like is like what like not interested in her or something like that, and I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? Like, no,
she should be 17 by this time.
No,
12th grade, 17.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's still a bit of weird childhood crush. That just
It's not right, is it?
It's a bit weird.
Because like, how old would this dude be? Be like what, in his like late 30s or something? Or?
He'd probably be like maybe early 30s.
Early 30s, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ugh, okay, right. It's a bit odd.
I mean, at least it's one-sided. It's not like.
Well, yeah. That is true. It isn't reciprocated, which would be even worse.
Yeah, it's definitely just a childhood crush thing. I just kind of like kept.
But you know the bit where like, but even like, you know, the other cousin who's like a police officer, like he's a bit odd, and like again, this is another thing as well. Not only is he odd, he seems to have some kind of weird attraction to Nasuki as well, which I find a bit odd. And also the uncle, one of the uncles, like the doctor uncle, like he's like, oh, when's it due? When's the baby due? Like they've just met this dude, you know what I mean? They've just met this poor math nerd who we'll get onto in a bit. Like
that's big families that like not like incestuous thing, but like, oh, when's the thing? When it's like, yeah,
big families are just incestuous.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's like big families and stuff. Like someone has a partner, like, oh, when like.
That is true. There is. You do always get family members like that who just overstep the mark and just, you know, who just like get involved in like in places that they shouldn't. Which I get that. That's fair enough. It was still a bit strange. You know, the fact that like the police officer dude, he's like raging all the time, and like they always need to have that character, don't they? In like these animes, it's like there's the protagonist. The protagonist males are usually either these really timid, like nervous people who like who freak out at the slightest thing.
Yeah, the 5 of them popped in my head as soon as that happened.
yeah, like 5 characters. Yeah, literally, like they all have the same shit. Like they all go like, you know, like, oh, whatever.
I think it's supposed to be like kind of a underdoggy type thing where it's like even the most meekest person makes a difference. Sort of thing.
Oh yeah, it's a hero's journey, but it's like, but it's exaggerated to the point where it becomes ridiculous, and it's like it's like that in Hero Academy.
Yeah, My Hero Academia had it.
Yeah,
Evangelion's really bad for it.
Yeah. And it's because I started to notice those patterns, and then they have the other character who's sort of like set against the protagonist in a strange sense, whether they're being like direct opposite, where he's like always raging, like always full of anger and rage. And again, they had that in Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But they have that in this one with the police guy, and he's like, he's just angry all the time. It's crazy.
Just a stuck-up cop, really.
Yeah, exactly. And even it's so emotionally raw as well. That's one thing that like that. Another thing that struck me about this, it's like there's no mistaking how characters feel.
Yeah. And
there's no subtlety to. There's not a lot of nuance to how a characters are sort of feeling in a certain situation. I mean, there is. I mean, there was a little bit of it towards with the kid who is in control of King Kazuya, yeah, or King Cosmo, Cosmo, yeah. You know, I for a while I was thinking, oh, what's this kid's deal? You know, he seems like a really interesting character with the whole like he's, you know, he wasn't at the family like big dinners. He's kind of like just stuck in his room, just doesn't want to interact with anyone. It turns out like he's the person behind the like the superhero esque bunny superhero avatar esque bunny character, which again is there in another tournament situation of like fighting, and it's like it's a fighting situation. I'm like, oh, there it is again.
He's just a pro gamer, man.
He's a pro gamer, yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, that's another thing, isn't it? Like, you get that a lot today. I mean, like that's like this whole sports with that sort of thing, and he actually refers to it as a sport, doesn't he? You know, he's like, it's not a game, it's a sport. Like sport.
And again, 2009 was probably when esports just started to like properly kick off as well.
So really, they were ahead of the curve.
Thereabouts, yeah, like
really.
right on the curve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. The children are unbearable.
Kids.
Like literally, I like kids, man. They're just so unbearable. Like everything is like, again, it fits into that thing of like everything is like extreme. It's like, wah! You know, and I'm like, oh my god, just stop, children. You know what I mean? And then you got like one of the mothers who's like obsessed with baseball. This house is creaking yet again. It's the radiator. So
she's obsessed with baseball because our son's the star player.
Oh, his son is the star player. I did not even.
That's why she's obsessed with watching him.
I did not even realize that.
Yeah.
But I was going to talk about the baseball thing actually because I appreciated the running parallel between the baseball game and the actual plot.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really quite cool. It's like, because baseball is like the perfect example in the story of working together as a team.
Yeah.
You know, it's like and that's of course what the I should probably explain. Well, actually, do you want to explain like the rough plot line of this movie?
Okay, so a girl asks a boy in a math club to come with her to a summer house where all her family's going to be there because it's her grandmother's 90th.
She's old.
Yeah, it's a hell of a birthday.
Yeah.
All the family's going to be there, and she's got a huge family, which I can relate to. Like my family was like kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like a huge ass family, they all got together. So she brings him there because she's like, I need to say that I've got a boyfriend.
Yeah. Because she said she wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said she had a boyfriend. She's like, oh yeah, I'll bring him. And like,
yeah.
She's like, shit.
Yeah.
So she kind of just ropes in a poor guy just to pretend.
Yeah.
And they get to there, and he's kind of just bewildered by this huge family and all the characters that are in it. And then, something on the Metaverse app comes on and is like, oh, can you solve this riddle? And he looks at it and he's just like, he just starts going for it because he's a math nerd.
Yeah.
He manages to solve it.
Yeah.
And then it figures out it's a virus.
Yeah.
And it used his avatar to like destroy the metaverse basically.
Yeah. And it was a big AI, like an evil AI, wasn't
it? But apparently it wasn't him who solved it. He didn't get it right. That's the thing.
No, yeah, it was a few people who got it right.
But he was just unlucky enough to get his avatar stolen at that point, and it used that.
Yeah. Oh man, and then of course, that's when, because this metaverse thing, it's not just like a social media thing. Like it's so all encompassing that like everybody uses it for everything. Yeah. So
use it for shopping, like use it for like banking, use it for like even in shops as like a POS system.
Yeah.
It's used for like practically everything. So it's like a big one global if Facebook got the talents and everything and made everything into one fucking thing.
Well, it's basically, that was one of the things that sort of struck me about it, because society is kind of heading in that direction anyway, really, isn't it? You know, it's like all these big corporations are starting to like rule every aspect of your life.
But
you know, in a sense.
Oz, which is called in this, the metaverse Oz.
Yeah.
Kind of has romanticizes it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's
a nice future where no one's stealing your data apart from big viruses.
Yeah. It's a fairy tale.
It's a fairy, yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's Oz.
Yeah, well, exactly. Literally, it's like a rose tinted look at like what this kind of technology could be, which very much is a reality. And this is the thing. It's like it struggles to like call. I mean, on the back of the Blu-ray, it even says that it's a near perfect blend of social satire and science fiction. And I think that that is true to a certain extent. It's but you know, science fiction is no longer becoming fiction. It's now becoming like reality, and it's like how do you continue to do social satire when it's kind of doing it itself?
Yeah, satire is dead. The Onion's not even funny anymore. It's just real.
It's just real. Exactly. It's like, I remember someone talking like recently about like, you know, they said like when Donald Trump was in power, they were like, social satire is kind of really difficult to sort of like do that because he kind of does it himself.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, what place does satire have anymore when satire is either like, now it's two things. Now it's either it's taken so seriously to the point where it's deemed offensive and you can't have it anymore, which kind of defeats the purpose of satire anyway. Like, people don't understand what satire is. it's meant to provoke a reaction to get you to think. And secondly, if satire is so close to the real thing, then can we even do it anymore? Is it just already, is life already that farcical where we don't need to make fun of it and exaggerate it anymore? And this was, so when I was watching this, I was like, it's kind of what's it called? Close to reality anyway. I mean, the fact that we have cyber attacks now, that is very much a real thing. I mean, it's like I remember years ago when PlayStation Network got taken,
hacked, yep.
hacked and taken down by Anonymous, and North Korea hacked the NHS,
yeah,
which was bizarre and strange, and yet it happened. And Russia obviously are launching cyber attacks on it's a new form of warfare.
Yeah, cyber warfare,
and it's real, and you see it in movies like this where. Ideally, back to what I was saying about the metaphor of because throughout the plot you see a baseball team broadcast going on where one of the mothers is obsessed with this baseball game because her son, as you said, he's
a star player.
He's the star player on the team, and of course things go. The success rate of this game is kind of linked to what is happening in the plot.
Yeah.
So it's when things are going really bad for the family and stuff, the game is being lost. And then of course when they win, when they ultimately win, it's of course when the team comes together and works efficiently as a team.
Yeah.
And of course that is what happens in the plot. When the family comes together, they all come together. And then the world comes together to fight Love Machine. And, of course, that's the big message of the movie, really, isn't it? It's family, no matter what, if you stick together and if you work together, you will overcome anything.
Yeah.
And that is, the overarching theme, as I said. But, it was a pretty, that being said, it was a pretty straightforward... I found it very straightforward. I found it very... it was enjoyable. It was a good run.
Yeah.
It was. I struggled to think if I would watch this movie again. I mean, I know I've just answered the big question.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do it all the time. I can't help myself.
But it's more of a big question when it comes to the series, really.
I said put a series.
When you want to talk about a series, would you watch?
Oh
more?
right, I thought you meant. I thought you meant this
series.
movie as a series,
Digimon.
sequels and stuff. But I thought the message, sort of the subtext of the movie is whenever the family is fragmented apart and stuff, and you kind of get that when halfway through when the grandmother, spoilers, passes away.
Yeah.
But again, through the anxieties of technology, I think, because
Love Machine stops a.
It stops
a pacemaker-y type
well, what
thing?
happened? I think what happens is she has an angina attack in the night, but of course one of the members of the family is a doctor, and he has an app on his phone. Well, he's linked up to ours, obviously, which alerts him if
she has an attack,
if she has an angina attack, or if there's anything going on with her, he can run in and help her. Being a doctor, of course, but of course, since the cyber attack is all encompassing and has shut down and taken over so many accounts on ours, he doesn't get the notification.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know, and of course she dies in her sleep, and it's really quite, and that bit was really quite sad and powerful.
Yeah.
And it was and of course Granny of course had to die. Because what else would the family have to motivate them?
Yeah.
To get back together again, and it's and that was the thing, especially with the uncle as well, because that's the reason why he came back, and it's he's the slimy sort of slick,
He's the black sheep of the family.
He's the black sheep of the family. That's very clearly the case. Whenever you see him in wide shots, he's always separated.
Yeah.
From the rest of the family. He's wearing black. He's always looking in opposite directions and stuff. Lovely bits of visual storytelling and what have you. But it's when he's all like he came back because really, I mean, underneath all of the like, oh well, I created Love Machine and you're all pathetic and you're like this house is mine and all this sort of stuff, and it's like he just came back because he wants approval.
Yeah.
Because he made something of himself. He wants to tell Granny that not only did he create Love Machine, but he sold it to the US military. And he got a shit ton of money for it, And he was like, "Isn't this just what we wanted? We can have money again, and we can do all sorts." And Granny's like, "You bastard," and she whips out a sword.
Yeah.
And then actually, this big like what is it really? It's like one of those Japanese weapons,
like sort of like a lancey type.
It's like a lancey type sword thing, like spear type thing, and it's like
the name for it right
Jesus Christ! And she tries to kill him, and I'm like, bloody hell, man, Christ, come on, woman, calm down, Well, like God, she may be on the cusp of death, but she can, she can swing that.
She can move.
She can move. Goodness me, and I found that really quite. Powerful, it's just like with her, and then she motivates basically the world. She motivates like all of the family, who work in different sectors, like the emergency sector and the finance sector. And I thought that was really cool. That's one thing that I really liked about the movie, actually, to be fair. I mean, while I found the plot I found it sort of like, I could see where it was going to go, and I could, I don't think it was anything
like nuanced, anything like proper word I'm looking for is gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
simple plot.
It's a fairly simple plot. It's a fairly straightforward plot. It's an archetypal plot, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think sometimes they are often the best stories, where they are archetypal and it doesn't do anything new. Because I think when you are writing, I mean, I've said this before. I mean, when you write stories and when you try to like make a movie or write a book or, and this is by no means obviously his first outing as a filmmaker or as a storyteller.
It's done a few, quite a few films actually like of his anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You're best off when you are starting out. You're best off really doing an archetypal story.
Yeah. Doing
a story that's a story structure that has been done before. And to make sure that you do it right, to make sure that you understand how those stories work and how they function and how they're put together. Because then I think once you understand how to tell a basic story, to tell an archetypal story, to tell a story that's been done before, then you can sort of branch out and try and tell something that maybe hasn't been done before, or maybe something with a bit more twists and turns here and there, something that you probably wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
But so in that sense, those stories are often can be really quite good, but there was little moments that sort of set it apart. There was the romance between, well, it isn't really a romance, even though it's very clear that he does like her.
Yeah.
That never really, the story, that's another good thing about it actually as well. The story's really focused. There's never really a moment where it loses steam or veers off too much. It's all quite nuancedly. That is one bit that has a bit of nuance to it, really. Because this lad, who is a math nerd and who is a math genius, he very clearly is in love with Nasuki. And that's never overtly...
He's yawning again. He's a tired boy.
I am. I'm so sorry. It's just every time I sit for long periods of time, my body just starts to shut down. So when you see them at the end, and of course it's very overtly addressed, which I have a lot to say about that ending scene, by the way.
Yeah.
It was very fucking weird. It was very strange. Do you know what I'm on about?
Trying to think now.
Right, so at the end, when it's finally addressed that he likes her,
yeah,
and the family are doing that annoying thing,
they're pushing them together,
sort of thing. You should get married and you should have kids and that sort of thing. I thought, whoa, what's going on here? This is very weird. And then his nose starts to bleed.
Oh right.
And then because they're going in to kiss, and then she's like, "Oh, I like you too. I like you too." And it's like, "Oh wow, okay, right. This is getting very bizarre."
Okay, Anime 101. Nosebleeds. is a euphemism for having an erection.
What?
Legit. Anytime you see a character with a nosebleed, it's normally a euphemism for being turned on, having an erection or something like that.
Whoa. Hold on a minute. What the fuck is that? What is that about?
That's in a lot of fucking animes.
Why?
Because they want to show someone being like aroused, but they can't really show someone being aroused, so nosebleed is a...
So they have blood pouring out of their nose?
Yeah. That's just a thing.
What?
I didn't think about that. It's the first time I've seen a proper big anime trope.
Jesus Christ. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, anime tropes 101. So
Jesus Christ.
Blood gushing the nose. Yeah, that's
It's
usually
an erection.
Euphemism for an erection.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god, because you see his body like fill up with red.
Yeah,
And
gets
then
embarrassed.
I'm like, oh, obviously that's him like getting, aroused or whatever, or blushing or whatever. And then
Yeah.
blood just gushes out of his nose.
Yep, that's
And
the...
I'm like, what the fuck's going on? What's going on? And then he faints, and everyone just laughs it off as a thing. I'm like, no, Jesus, there's something really weird and horrific just happened here.
Yeah, anime tropes 101.
Oh my god, imagine if
I
that
think
happened.
I can't believe this is the first time I've introduced you to something that's actually had a stupid trope in it.
No,
Fuck.
Jesus, like what? No, oh what? No. I'm trying to think if I've seen this before. Any of this shit you've shown us?
I don't think it has been. Definitely wasn't in My
Oh.
Hero. My Hero's never really...
That certainly wasn't there. Yeah, I mean, like,
No, little fucking what's his face, little grape boy. He sometimes does it, but you might not have seen it in the episodes that he does.
what in My Hero Academy?
Yeah,
What, when blood gushes out of his nose?
yeah, little grape boy. What's he called? Stupid piss baby. I can't remember his
Gus Stewart, piss baby.
name. No one likes him. I can't remember his name right now.
What? Oh God.
It happens a couple of times in that, but no, nothing.
Imagine if that happened in real life.
Yeah.
Like, how awful life would be. I suppose that would be like just sort of women getting back at us men for the patriarchy, isn't it? It's like, the amount of times I hear that, like, I mean, justifiably so. Like, life is like difficult on that whole, on everything. Let's not go too into it, but you know what I mean.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about the monthly period, Lee.
All right, fair enough.
For goodness sake, I'm saying like that. Just that in a sense of like, even like my girlfriend like says to me like, oh, it's it's hard being a woman, John. I'm like, I know, and we have it quite easy. But imagine if like when we get sexually aroused as men, blood gushes out of our nose.
Doesn't happen to you?
It doesn't. What? Lee, I think you might want to go to the doctor.
Probably.
To be honest with you, Jesus, imagine how awful life would be. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
like how just messy it would be for everyone involved.
Trying to think. I think it does happen with girls. I think it's just a euphemism for arousal.
What, coming out of the nose?
Yeah, I think it's just a euphemism for arousal, really. But it's
Jesus,
always like,
can't they just do actual arousal?
I mean, well, it
You,
depends.
you just need to do like a certain look,
Yeah,
or a caress of the arm, or a or a bit of music,
or someone just fucking shoots backwards because of
or
blood
someone,
coming out the nose.
someone shoots backwards, exactly.
Because
But,
they get propelled by the blood from the nose.
but no, it's blood gushing out of the nose. That's insane. I just thought he was. I just thought it was a funny.
Him dying.
Well, I just thought he dies at the end of it because like blood loss, and then the portrait of the granny just changes from like mildly amused to laughing, and it's like, what is going on here? Because that was the one bit that totally threw me, because like the rest of the movie is kind of like it's all tonally consistent, and then the very end of it is just like does a total 180, and I'm like, what is going on here? This is so strange. But no, I had no idea that blood gushing from the nose.
I can't believe that's the first time we had like stupid anime trope.
I have never known of that. Never known of that's what it meant. I just thought it was just a random funny moment where it was just like, oh, poor boy, he's being embarrassed by a nosebleed, because that, I mean, being honest, that is what you would be embarrassed if like a girl that you quite liked as a teenager, was coming in to give bit of a smooch, bit of a canoodle, and then you suddenly break out with a very aggressive nosebleed. Little did I know that's a sign of
arousal.
Of arousal. Yeah. God.
Yeah, I can't believe we've gotten that far.
No, I've never. Well, I don't really suffer from nosebleeds, so I've never been aroused in my life, basically. So.
To be fair, but when I've been thinking about like animes and stuff to watch, I'm kind of like thinking like stuff that's not gonna be too out there, like because there's some anime tropes that are just fucking strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the first one's actually done one of the stupid tropes.
Well, what else? What else?
I was just having a look over the list, really, so let's go down them.
Goodness me. This is a rabbit hole.
So there's always the run. So you usually see it in school anime. There's always someone's late for school and they're legging it with a piece of toast in the mouth.
Oh, right,
You'll see that in a lot of slice of life anime.
Right, okay.
There's always someone who's late for school and they'll have a piece of toast in the mouth, fucking legging it at school.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's always a thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, food obsession. Cicadas. Every time there's a summer scene in an anime film, you'll hear cicadas. It was Poison Summer was.
Okay. Is that like a type of music? Or...
No, they're crickets.
Oh,
really
crickets.
fucking loud and they're really fucking annoying.
Okay, right, yeah.
Everywhere in Japan.
Sure. I'm sure that was there at some point in Summer Wars.
Sundara, which I don't think she was a bit sun. So Sundara is a girl who likes a guy, but she acts like aggressive and kind of like standoffish against him because she's like, I don't fucking like you, and kind of like.
I see.
That's in a lot of anime. There's a lot of sun girls.
That's quite a big Western trope as well. I think.
Yeah, it's very exaggerated in Japan.
Oh, it's very. Oh, I can imagine it's exaggerated in Japan. I imagine it's absolute blinding fury.
About this happens a lot. Most anime I can think of, protagonist either has one parent or none. You never really see them with either one or all.
Yep. Yeah. That's
It's always either a dead parent or something. Or...
Something where you don't see both parents. Yeah. Actually, that is true. I remember that actually in Beyblade a little bit.
If a mom has a hair where like it's in a sort of like a loose ponytail, but it goes to her side, she's probably gonna die.
Shit! Really?
Nearly every anime mum who has that kind of hairstyle ends up dying at one point.
Wow!
It's ridiculous.
Okay, Christ, I didn't know that.
Bad guys looking good. Yeah, most antagonists look like.
Oh, they're gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they are that. Like I know that they're actually like really. That's actually so true. Because I remember like the he's not really an antagonist. He is to kind of start off with like the uncle.
Yeah.
I understand why she's got a crush on him. He's a good looking dude. You know what I mean? But that's true. It's the same with oh god, it was one of the first things she showed me. Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
What's the bad guy's name?
Oh, Vicious.
Vicious is quite good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicious is quite good looking. The villain in the guy who's full of hell in My Hero Academia.
Bakugo, yeah.
Yeah, he's quite good looking as well, you know. Yeah, it's true. That's absolutely true, yeah.
Yeah, anime antagonists always look pretty.
Yeah.
Even like for some reason the most like threatening anime antagonists, like guys, will look femme as fuck.
Yeah.
Like they'll look very like
quite androgynous.
Quite androgynous, but like terrifying.
Yeah, but like quite attractive at the same time.
I'm watching one right now, Demon Slayer. And the main bad guy, he kinda looks like Michael Jackson. He's got like he's pale.
White or black Michael Jackson?
White. He's like kind of pale. He's got like wispy hair.
That's appropriate.
He's fucking terrifying. I've only watched a couple episodes of him in, and he got introduced. It's kind of like that Cowboy Bebop thing where where they just say vicious and like fear just kind of drops.
And you know that's bad just by his name.
The main character asks about the guy.
Yeah.
To another demon, and he's just like, I can't say anything. He's going mental, like he just can't. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, this guy's scary.
This guy's scary then. If
Good
he looks
introduction.
like Michael Jackson, a bit like the real life Michael Jackson, it's a little bit terrifying looking, yeah.
But yeah, let's go down the list.
Yeah.
Girls with big breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah.
Like, depending on the thing, you'll get stupid.
They love a well endowed woman. So
breasts that like kind of either move individually or fucking they'll breathing. It's ridiculous in some anime.
Individually or in unison.
There's a scene. I'll have to show you the gif of it. It's from High School of the Dead. High School of the Dead is fucking ridiculous. I used to love it when I was like in my 20s.
Yeah.
But now watching now is a bit.
It's a bit. Ooh, right. Okay.
Yeah, because High School of.
Oh
yeah.
no! Yeah.
When you get like older and older, this kind of anime you just have to avoid.
Yeah.
It was a really good. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, so it's a bit where a guy's got a sniper rifle trying to shoot a zombie, and a girl who has a fucking katana is like sniping at zombies.
Yeah.
And she bends backwards, and the slow motion bullet goes between one breast and goes between the other.
God's sake!
It's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. Come on. I mean, it's like, to be fair though, you've got a mouse pad.
Oh yes, I've
like,
got Yoko. Yeah.
Like Lee has this infamous mouse pad with what's the character?
It's Yoko from Gurren Lagann.
What you said.
Yeah.
And it's just the mouse. it's just
the wrist rest is her boobs.
Yes, the wrist rest is her enormous breasts.
You can get one of girls with like, well, girls and guys with like the arses.
That's just so ridiculous. And why is this a thing? It's just
I
so
have no
ridiculous.
idea. Got that as a present, by the way. I didn't buy it for myself. But I'm
Very
keeping
horny
it.
men, aren't there, who do this?
Yes.
Reason. Jesus Christ. I mean, like that was another thing as well in Cowboy Bebop. The woman who in the first episode who was the girlfriend of
Yes.
yeah, and is that
The
scene
pregnant.
the pregnant woman who's not pregnant and she's in the bar and
She
of course,
bends down the drink.
She bends down to drink the thing, and of course her breasts are just on the desk, and
the old guy's like, yeah,
like, oh my god, you know. So that trope, absolutely, it's ridiculous, and it's everywhere.
That's Cowboy Bebop's a tamer version of that trope. That can get fucking ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Let's go down the list. Harem. There's always one guy who has a lot of girls who are in love with him.
Yes, that is true.
And like it gets stupid as well. Like Sword Art Online establishes in the first like 10 episodes that one guy, like the one girl he's with is like, yeah, that's the proper girl. And then they just keep introducing more girls. Like, why? Why do you know like they're a thing?
We already know what's going on here. Like just you know.
Bloody Nose. Yeah, we've gone past that.
Oh yes.
Beach episode. There's always a beach episode.
There is. There is. The beach is always there. Yeah, that is true.
Episode in Hot Springs. There's always a Hot Spring episode.
Right. Yes.
And always ends up with one of the pervy guys trying to look over the thing to see the girls, and they'll attack him.
Yep.
That always happens.
That always happens. Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Let's have a look. The talk while the fight, yeah, but that's just anime.
Oh, that's standard. Where they'll do like a pose and they'll stand there for like a minute or something, and they're like
monologuing and
like a big monologue about how much they hate the other character. Yeah, I get that.
Shout the name of power you're going to use.
Yep.
Happens in My Hero Academia all the time.
Yeah, Dragon Ball.
Scream for stronger attacks. Dragon Ball.
Yeah. It's very verbal.
Yeah. Always sad characters. There's always one sad character.
Oh god, there's so much sadness. It's unrelenting sadness. Like just that kind of like ties into what I was saying about the emotions like sort of being heightened, and it was the kind of the same with like in Summer Wars, you know, where the bit where after Granny dies, and of course everyone's understandably very emotional.
Yeah.
But you know the bit where Nikita, the girl.
Natsuki.
Natsuki.
We're just gonna go for different. It's like Mary all over again.
Mary and Pippin. Yeah. She's just sat there, and then she starts crying, and then all of a sudden she just bursts into tears, and it's like, holy shit! Like everything's just so raw.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else is there?
Looking through. The one that's not on this list, but the one I really like, which was in Summer Wars, is it's the power of friendship. Normally, to attack the big bag, a lot of people come together. Like when everyone gives their accounts. I fucking love that scene where everyone's just like, oh, you can have my account to bet on the
Yeah. Where all seems lost. And
and just humanity
just comes and supports them, and it's like, wow.
That of friendship, yeah, I love that trope so much. It always gets me, that scene, and it's so cheesy. It's so
quite cheesy, but it you know it works, and it's like, you know, it's like the Avengers Endgame thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
everyone comes together.
Right now, over me. But yeah, I mean, do you think that's probably where they got that trope from?
Oh, like,
or is it just a universal trope? Really?
I think it's a universal trope of like, I think more in anime it's more like the little people come together, like their voices will change, their voices will give power to the person, like the antagonist, the protagonist and stuff. And Dragon Ball does it. It's like, people of the Earth, give me your courage, when he does the I've got the big ball power he does. He gets life force from everyone.
What's this in?
Dragon Ball.
In Dragon. Oh yes.
Can't remember what it's called now. The big blast. I should really know.
It's not Kamehameha.
No,
is it? No,
well,
that's something.
Charge of Kamehameha, but it's another thing where it's just like a huge, big, like kind of like a sun he has on him, and.
Oh yes, I do remember this. Yeah. That is quite something in it.
He always shouts like, "People give me your power," and it's like the plants and stuff give the life force.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That makes that. I remember that. Yeah, that makes sense. God, yeah, there is so much though, isn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of those tropes. Now that you mention it, I do remember them in a lot of the stuff that you've shown me.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, isn't it? It's just absolutely crazy. But you know, they know. Is it done on purpose? Do you think, or is it done?
Like depression shots of like boobs and stuff. Like They're there for a
that's so
reason.
True. It's so true.
Funny guys, they're like, yes, this sells.
Yeah, I mean it's there in I mean I remember seeing it like so overtly in My Hero Academia, where when that like when the giant woman is there,
Yes.
the first time you see her.
Yeah, Mount Lady's like,
Mount
yes,
Lady is
nice
just,
to meet your ass quit.
oh god, it's just ridiculous. It's just it's just and the first thing you see is just like her just this gigantic ass, and it's ridiculous. It's like, what the
All
hell?
I can think is of have you ever seen Dude, Where's My Car?
No.
Oh, there's a giant woman in that, and like she's walking through like a theme park, and this little kid's like, I want to go on that ride, Daddy, and the dad's like, me too.
For God's sake. Oh, for God's sake.
God,
It's
I've never
ridiculous.
seen that film in like 20 years. It's probably aged horribly.
It probably has. I mean, like,
90s films.
90s. God bless the 90s, man. That's all I can say. But yeah. I mean, but those tropes. I mean, like, do you think? I mean, there's tropes for a reason, and they make up a genre, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, would you even say? I mean, anime obviously is a genre in itself, and that's if it weren't.
That's the thing. Anime's. You say anime is a genre, but anime is like a. I don't know. It's like saying TV's a genre. It's like a. Anime encompasses a lot of different genres.
It does.
It's a weird thing.
It does.
But it all
does.
gets like kind of pigeonholed here because
of
you think anime, you just think the one.
yeah. And I
Just
don't
think
suppose
anime.
those tropes help really in a sense.
Yeah, that's why like when I'm trying to introduce you to stuff, I'm thinking of stuff that's like not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can think it would put off a lot of people if you watch this, then it has like it has a nosebleed straight away, and you're like, what the fuck, someone died.
Well, I suppose I mean, like, it's like, I suppose when you think about a lot of anime, because I had this this discussion with my girlfriend last night. Actually, I was saying like it's I wonder because a lot of the stuff that I've been watching like for this podcast is because I don't know anime at all.
Yeah.
And so really I'm going in the dark for a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of people who would be listening to this, I would imagine. Imagine a lot of people who like listen to this aren't in anime either. So if this in any way has piqued interest in for people to like come and watch these things, there is some element to them that I've got to be honest, they're still not fully my thing.
Yeah.
But I have to say there is like an element to them where the stories are quite interesting. The tropes of certain character types do get on my nerves a little bit, where you've always got the male protagonist is always usually like this bumbling bag of nervous who's a nervous wreck. The obvious objectification of women,
Yeah.
and the whole thing about this guy who is there's always at least one guy or woman who's like full of rage, and but that being said, it is really entertaining. I mean, I really quite enjoyed My Hero Academia, and I really enjoyed Cowboy Bebop. Like, those were things I could see myself actually coming back
Cowboy
to.
Bebop is like people say it's anime for people who don't like anime, like who don't watch anime because
I completely subscribe to that. I completely agree with it. I mean, like with the whole thing with Summer Wars. I mean, even the title Summer Wars, is it literally just a reference to?
It's sort of like it's set in the summer, and it's meant to be like, what's that film called with it against AI?
Which one? Against AI?
Yeah, it's something Wars.
I was gonna say iRobot.
No, is it? Shit, what's that film called? Where's my phone? 2 seconds.
What so you're looking for a film that's
It's something War. I can't remember what it's called
something war, but it's like against AI.
Yeah.
Right. When was this film?
I'm gonna say 80s, early 90s.
Oh, an 80s film. Okay.
It's gonna kill me
RoboCop?
now. No, it's like an actual AI, and it's like.
Is it not just called AI?
No, that's a different film. It's got wars in the fucking title as well.
Star Wars.
That's Star Wars,
It's
definitely.
Star Wars, yes. I can't think of anything. I can't think of one.
Oh my god, it's gonna wreck me. I can picture it in my head.
Yeah.
It's like a sort of a chess game, and it's like, I've just typed in war. Wars.
Something Wars.
See, I want to get Star Wars. Thanks, IMDb.
Tron Wars.
It's not Tron Wars.
I just made that up.
I know. Oh my god, why is it? It's gonna annoy me.
Starship Trooper Wars.
I can't remember what it's called.
Batman Wars. The War of the Batman.
Oh, it's gonna get in my head. Or something game. Or something
Describe
games.
it. Squid Game.
It's
Squid
like
Game War.
they're playing against the AI, and it's like, would you like to play a game? And it's like
Saw.
not Saw.
So it's Saw.
Yeah, it's Saw.
Saw War.
Saw
Saw
Wars.
Saw Wars.
Shit. If I search, would you like to play a game? Oh my god, how has this gone out my head?
Would you like to play a game? Spy Kids. Spy Kids Wars.
just say Philip.
I will.
Wars
Yes, I will. Yes. Cats versus Dog Wars. I'm only saying that because your cat has just walked in. Hello,
yes.
honey. How are you?
Honey is War Games.
War Games. There we are.
Yes, I had war in it.
Right.
War Games.
So
They play against the AI, and it's like sort of like a chessy type thing.
All right. Okay.
I thought I'd kind of reference that a bit. Also, that's set in like August. It's set in August. Summer Wars.
It's just that loose of a reference. Both films are set in August, so therefore.
Well, no, but not that one. But that one's set in August. Summer Wars.
See, right, okay. Well,
and it came out in August as well. So it's like
very
Summer
consistent.
Wars.
Yeah. No, Summer. Absolutely. No, you know, it was. I feel like this movie is one of the more accessible. What's it called? Animes, I think, out there as well.
Yeah.
Because I think this is up there with Cowboy Bebop. I think well, really, My Hero Academia as well, actually, for like being like really accessible.
It's My Hero Academia is probably one of the more popular ones right now. That and Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is incredibly popular, and I've only just got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never heard of any of that.
Surprises on Netflix and shit.
But yeah, I think this is one of the more accessible ones. I think with the the themes of family obviously are very prevalent. I mean, the whole thing is about family.
It just reminds me of a big Catholic family I had. Like I said, I'm technically Catholic. My dad on my dad's side.
Yeah.
And like I said, my nana had like, I think 7. I'm gonna say 7. I've got like 6 aunties and uncles thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
We had one black sheep with a family, and like they all had kids and all had big things, different thing. Kind of remind me of that, like going to see my nana at like events and stuff, and having that huge thing. I think that's one thing that film does for me as well. It reminds me of like big family events that we used to have.
Yeah, well, I mean, I as a raised Catholic myself, I can kind of subscribe to that as well. I mean, like, I can't remember the last family gathering I even went to.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I mean, as the years have gone by, my family is kind of not like alienated itself from like other but I mean, put it this way: when certain members of family die, or like move on, as they say, certain factions of like family ties start to erode.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, those things. Unless the family, the cat just leapt onto
left behind him.
Leapt behind me, like I got a bit frightened. So when you get older, these things just start to happen.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a really like close knit family where that you do it regularly and you do like keep on the whole thing of like family reunions. But like with my family, I mean, I only see one side of my family. Very rarely, to be honest with you, and I think that you only see certain factions of family on birthdays or anniversaries or that sort of thing, and I think that's just
it's life.
Excuse me, that is just life, And so when you see films like this that really showcase sort of like the power of family and and the whole thing of like sticking together, and it's almost a very, I don't want to say alien concept because I don't want to like portray it as if like it really is something that you kind of.
It's a rare thing. It's a rare thing.
It is a rare thing, especially today, and especially on like my side, my family. I mean, like that's not to say that like we really aren't connected. I mean, we are. I mean, like obviously, it was my uncle's birthday yesterday, and of course he was wishing him a happy birthday, and like he was like very happy to hear that and all that. And there's other like my godmother and and her husband, obviously like I know them very well, and like certain like members of like my auntie and uncle, and even like my auntie and uncle who aren't technically my auntie and uncle, but like they're still like
I know what you mean,
really like close members of the family. It's it was interesting to see, and it just makes you wonder: is the family unit sort of defunct? In some senses of the word, because I've been in family situations, other people's family situations, where it's massive. There's the mother and father, there's the brothers, there's the cousins, there's the auntie and uncle, there's the grandparents, there's the other auntie and uncle. There's so many, and you kind of feel like how the math nerd kid feels, so overwhelmed by it, an outsider, and it's strange, and I'm not sure that those environments are, unless they're in a certain way, I don't know where I'm going with this, but you know what I mean, don't you? It's strange. It's and I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's just an outdated concept that sort of like in a modern context doesn't really feel right unless you've been around that your entire life. But to be fair to that, I think we're always going to get that in media. And that's always going to be represented in real life. Where you're always going to have not a black sheep of the family, but someone who's introduced in a family situation where you feel sort of isolated and you feel.
Well, I think this film does it well because you can relate to having a big family, and you also relate to being that person who's coming in from the outside.
I completely related to that, and it's tough because you're either in a family situation, someone else's family situation, where you feel accepted, and they don't necessarily exclude you.
Yeah.
But they sort of don't. They sort of like act in a way where it's like, oh well, this obviously isn't the norm for you, but this is the norm for us. So we're gonna make it indirectly make you feel weird, and like sort of like an outsider because you don't subscribe to this, like what we do and stuff. It's a weird one, But thankfully, I've been in situations where like where the family are just like quote unquote normal people.
Then again, you can say that about friendship groups. If you get introduced to someone's friendship group,
it's the same with friendship groups. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's it's a weird situation. I mean, I'm sure the two of us we've both been in those situations.
Yeah.
I think many a time where you you can be an outgoing person as much as you like and be like really wanting to meet people and like thrive off other people and being like an extrovert and this, that and the other. But sometimes it just, you still, there's nothing that'll change you feeling a bit out of your comfort zone and a bit like, this isn't sort of my thing, and yeah, it's an odd one, but families are weird, man.
Yeah.
Families are weird, and friendship groups are weird. Again, it's like it's cults, isn't it? And cults and, well, not cults, but clans. That's the word I'm looking for. Clans and
clans, not cults.
Clans, not cults. Hashtag John Lewis. But yeah, it's an odd one. So I think this movie like really portrayed that like really well. But then again though, nuclear war, that's what we need to sort of like family to reignite the family unit, bring us all together, and that may not be far off with what's going.
I'm just gonna stand here and just stare.
No, it won't come to that, of course not. But we know where to go though, don't we? If it did come to that. Well, we would go. Well, is there an underground like a unit that you know of, or like a big sturdy building that we could all like? I don't know. We could go to Blast Beach, I suppose.
Yeah, it's already been blasted enough.
It has been blasted enough. We can go there again. No, of course. I only say that in jest, ladies and gentlemen, and others. But so. No, and that was, of course, that was a big thing. It's like, again, the big trope of like big disasters that'll bring a family together, and it was very satisfying watching a Love Machine get smacked in the face as a little
King
avatar.
Kazia,
yeah, by King what was it? King what?
King Kazia, Kazma.
King Kazma. Yeah, that was so satisfying to watch. You know, because it's like going back to Lord of the Rings. I'm really glad. I've totally switched my opinion on Gollum.
He's not a Gollum apologist anymore.
I'm not a Gollum apologist anymore. I'm so glad. I was so satisfying to watch him get beat up. And it was very much the same in this movie. It was really lovely to watch King. I Love Machine get beat up, even if he was just a senseless AI.
Speaking of satisfying, though.
Yes.
The visuals.
The visuals.
So satisfying.
They actually are. Yeah, that is true. That is one element I think that did actually resonate with me. It's like the animation style was really quite fluid.
Yeah.
But also what I noticed in like the way the characters moved and this, that, and the other, there was like there was quite a satisfying feel to it. But I think what you're referring to really is the
in Oz.
In Oz, yeah, Oz really looked incredible.
Yeah.
Especially for the time as well. I mean, like,
yeah, it's nice to see on Blu-ray as well. Everything pops.
Yeah, it did really. It everything like so there was.
And
like,
everyone has like kind of a glow around them, like a little a reddy bluey kind of
like sort of like digital like quality to them. Which
outline,
I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
The film I talked about last week, Belle, because it's made by the same director.
Oh yes.
Similar concept. There was a whole white like kind of metaversey thing, and everyone had this kind of glow to them, and but they weren't like a little more 3D-ish, not like 2D.
Yeah.
But a similar thing.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really cool, like the way that. Oh, and especially as well when Love Machine takes on his massive form, the way that he moves is like really. It did so well to differentiate it from that in the real world, or like the real world.
Yeah.
But it was like seeing that digital rendered place was like it gave you like a really nice little indication of what the internet really looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like inside the tubes.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, imagine if we could actually like see for real or be inside the internet in a strange way.
It's like that Futurama episode where they do the internet when it's all VR and inside.
Oh, they go inside the internet?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Oh, it's a really early episode as well.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. Like Futurama, like I mean that was one thing that I need to really like quite delve into because I feel like that would be quite fun.
Yeah. Maybe want to do.
Yeah. It was because it's like sort of like a precursor to sort of Rick and Morty, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, but it's a successor to The Simpsons because
successor to The Simpsons, obviously.
Ronan.
Yes. Yeah. But it was like, but yeah. So that animation, especially when there was the fight between King Cosmo and Love Machine.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very satisfying to watch.
Yeah, very fluid.
Very fluid, very cool, very creative as well. That's another thing as well, it was the creativity is really strong in these movies.
Yeah.
Especially in that's where it really pops in the Land of Oz. And obviously the introduction to Oz as well.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie I think was really good. I think they did the correct thing in establishing what the main here's like the main thing about this universe that you need to know about. Like, here's the background.
Funny enough, that scene at the start, even in the Japanese dub, it has the English voice. Like, this is Oz. Welcome to Oz.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Any reason for that? Or is it just...
I think it's just trying to be like Oz is universal, so it's got the English language.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. And of course, English is the universal language, isn't it? So...
one of the most popular languages,
one of the most popular languages, yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I thought the animation style was really, especially for like, as I said, for like 2009.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I'm expecting from something from 2009. You know what I mean? But
it's
like,
only 12 years ago.
12 years ago. God, I remember that. You know what I mean? I remember 2009. You know, crazy.
I was working. I was 19.
You were 19.
Just finished college.
I was a child. I was like, was I 12 or 13 or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, there was 7 year difference between us. How old are you now?
I'm 25.
Yeah, I'm 32. So yeah, it's 7.
Jesus.
So you'd have been about 12.
Jesus. Yeah, I'll have been 12. Yeah. God, I remember it. I remember 2009. That was the year that everything changed for me. That was when my life really started to take shape.
Yeah.
Like 2009, that year, and it was yeah, it was very strange. I remember that's when I started to become aware of like the world, like the wider world.
I think that's when you're like 12, 13. Yeah.
Yeah, like you start to become aware of the wider world. You start to become aware of that's when you start secondary school.
Yeah.
And when you start secondary school,
Well, I've got a fun story about starting secondary school. I say it's fun. It's not fun at all.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, go on. Let's hear it, Lee.
So the first week of secondary school, I'm going to say the first couple of days, 9/11 happened.
Oh shit! Wow.
That was live. Like we were talking about on the way home.
That's when you started secondary school.
Yeah, I started in 2001.
God. Jesus Christ.
That was the first week of secondary school.
I can't top that.
Yeah.
Really? 9/11. Jesus. And how did it feel? Like what was the general...
Unreal. Like I don't know if this is the Mandela effect or something, but I can vividly remember someone falling out of that tower.
Really?
On live TV.
Jeez.
But people say it's a Mandela effect that never happened, and people mention it after the fact.
That you remember people falling out the tower?
I remember someone falling out of the tower.
Right.
That was shown live on TV. But people have said it didn't happen. It might have been a Mandela effect. Just people talked about it happening, and it's just a kind of you think it happened.
And then you think it happened. Yeah, sure. I mean, I know that, like, I mean, that's the thing about that event. I mean, I remember, because I remember in 2001, I'll have been 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like at the time. Yeah, I'll have been 4 years old. So I remember people talking about it. And I remember people, like, because I was in a Catholic school, and we would do this thing at the end of every assembly where we would say, like, who we want to pray for and things like that. And I remember people, like, saying, like, different things, and then, like, I remember one lad who I still vaguely know to this day, really. He was saying, I want to, if we can pray for everyone in the Twin Towers. And I kind of had an idea of what that meant.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was a picture. There was a picture in one of the classrooms that it had, like, a little timeline that went from 1910, 1920, 1930. You know, it would go through the decades of the 20th century, and then it came to
2000s.
Well, it came to, I think it went from, like, 1990, and it had, like, the biggest defining event of 1990 was the death of Kurt Cobain.
It was, yeah.
That was the biggest moment. No, I can't remember what it was that they had for, like, the 90s.
Death of Princess Diana.
It might have been the death of Princess Diana.
Which, funny story, not a funny story. I remember just being annoyed by that as a kid because it happened when I was about 7. And all the news, I always had the rolling news coming over the cartoons. I was like, I don't care. I just want to watch my cartoons.
Watch cartoons.
I don't know who this person is.
Fucking hell, man! Just let us watch the cartoons, man. It's like, Christ, I don't know. I don't care. Oh, Lee. Oh, wow.
No, it was a dumbass 7-year-old.
No. I mean, 7-year-olds aren't gonna like subscribe to anything like that. I mean, I can't remember what it was. I think it was. It won't have been the Berlin Wall coming down because that was 1989. So
Bill Clinton getting a blowjob.
It might have been
getting a peach.
It might have just yeah, a big
that's
picture. That's on it. That's on it. That's on the Catholic school wall. The picture that defined the 1990s. The live picture that was taken in the Oval Office.
The Clinton years.
The Clinton years of Bill Clinton receiving oral sex from Monica Lewinsky was right there. On the timeline, that is the 1990s right there, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. Next to the death of Kurt Cobain and Marilyn Manson. And the death of Lady Diana. Yeah. No, I can't remember what it was. But the point being, when it said, then it went 1990s and then millennium.
Yeah.
And of course, the millennium.
Y2K.
Yeah. Was yeah, exactly. It was the Twin Towers. It was a picture of 9/11. And of course, you can't get, what other event would it be? You know, and I remember,
going off on a tangent again. We're going from a tangent to a tangent, but I've been a couple of years ago I started rewatching Friends, and when it gets to around 2001, you can just tell it's like a weird bubble in America where everything was related to, like, firefighters and, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, half the cast in the show are wearing, like, FDNY shirts.
Yeah.
There's a never forget on the fucking scribble board that was on the door.
Yeah.
But this goes on for, like, a good few months.
Yeah.
It's like the entire year. There's just all this, like, they don't explicitly mention it. It never gets mentioned. But everything, like, background stuff is just...
It's just, like, relating to 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's very strange.
It is strange, and it's that's another point as well. Really, I mean, to be fair, this could be its own podcast, really. But it's like
my friend John talks about 9/11.
Talks about 9/11. I mean, well, maybe it's not specifically about 9/11, but it's but what is interesting about that event is that it really did. When you look at it through the eyes of media, you really see how much it influenced basically everything.
Yeah.
You know, because it's so strange, because like talking about with what is going on, like so right now, if we're talking seriously for a second, like what's happening like right now, especially with the whole thing with like Russia and Ukraine, it seems like a new Cold War is basically beginning. You know, whether this will lead to an actual all-out war or whether it'll just be a series of appeasements towards Russia and Ukraine, we don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens. But it'll undoubtedly lead to one of those two things. Up until now, right, in the last 20 years, everything has been, like, defined by that one event in 2001. Because, like, before then, the 90s was a strange time. I mean, if you look at, like, the Doomsday Clock, which is an actual, like, real thing. It's not just something that was created in Watchmen. You know, it's the Doomsday Clock. The closest it's been away from like world annihilation was like 15 minutes to midnight or something like that, or 12 minutes to midnight, and that was in 1990.
Yeah.
And that was right after the Berlin Wall had come down. You know, you'd had the riots in Tiananmen Square by that point. So like China was busy rebranding itself in the 1990s, so that's why it didn't do anything.
Sort of world peacey. The closest we've had to world peace.
It's the closest we've ever had to world peace.
No, the closest we had to world peace was when Pokemon Go came out.
That's true.
Everyone was happy for that first few months.
That is true.
That's the closest we've had to world peace in years. But yeah, the 90s was like the closest.
That is actually so true. That is actually so true. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, so apart from Pokemon Go, the 1990s, that was like the closest we ever had to like world peace, because the Soviet Union had completely collapsed. Russia was spending the 1990s rebuilding itself to becoming the Russian Federation. China was busy rebranding itself from being not a communist state, but still being a communist state. And America was on top of the world. Like, nothing could challenge America. America was, like, the superpower in the world, and everything was great, you know? And, of course, the biggest thing they had to deal with was, like, the scandal of... I mean, there was the Gulf War and everything, but, like, you know, they had things like that, and obviously the Monica Lewinsky thing with Bill Clinton and all that. But, you know, AIDS was kind of, like, becoming a thing of the past and all that, you know? Like,
things were going...
You know, the Reagan Revolution had kind of, like, had its lasting impact of, like... the world, America is now a capitalist utopia and everything. And then one fateful day happens in America on September the 11th, 2001, and all of a sudden everything changes. Nothing is going to be the same ever again, because we realized for the first time that war can penetrate deep into the heart of a civilian population. You know, war has now taken on a new form. We can now hijack planes. We can now pose as regular human beings, like regular civilians and stuff, and knock down two symbols of what America stands for, you know?
I was going to say capitalism, but yeah, it's the same thing.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, yeah, exactly. It's like, this is what we can do, and we can change people's lives for the worse just like that, you know, and just by doing it easily, you know? And that was when everything changed. And of course, holy shit, the 2000s, man. Like, the War on Terror, you know, and like there's a fantastic series on Netflix, which I don't know if you haven't seen it, watch it. And if anyone's listening to this and they're interested in this topic, I would urge you to watch this as well. It gives you such a great understanding of where we are today, and it basically it sums up 9/11 and the last 20 years on how 9/11 basically impacted literally everything politically in the last 20 years. And, you know, the whole thing about the in the Bush years was basically defined by that one event, and you get the Patriot Act, which basically gives the government permission to spy on literally everyone, and basically, and we're still feeling that today. You know, that's like the precursor to Facebook and like what Zuckerberg's doing, and, you know, and how social media just like is an entity within itself, which is crazy. You know, media as well. Like you were saying there, like even subtle things in Friends, you know, like when they're wearing and all that. But you know, the villains in cartoons now become like sort of like terroristy things, you know, like.
And any antagonist in most media was brown.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Then again, before that was Russia. It was Russians up until like 2000s.
Exactly. Yeah,
because it was the spin-off that from the USSR and stuff like that. So they were the last bad guys. So they were always the bad guys in films.
Yeah.
And then when it got to 2000s, it just anyone.
The Middle East.
Yeah. Middle East.
Exactly. The Middle East is now the new enemy, and you see that in even in Marvel comics, like. You know, the Avengers are now fighting like terrorists and stuff like that, and like, you know, all of the sort of the films are now becoming they're now all like commentaries on like what America is like doing at home and what it's doing abroad, and like Guantanamo Bay, and how there's like one senator at the time when they were saying like, oh, we're gonna use 9/11 as an excuse to go to war with the Middle East and basically take away all the natural resources, and destabilize the Middle East even further, and use 9/11 as a justification for torturing people in Guantanamo Bay and that sort of thing. And it's like it's insane. And there was one woman senator. I can't remember her name, but she was the only one basically saying, let's not do anything hasty. Let's not use our blinding hatred and anger here to do something that we might regret. And guess what? They did. We did something that we might regret. I mean, yes, Saddam Hussein was an evil guy, but by removing him from power in Iraq, destabilized even further, like, what was going on there? I can't believe we've now got onto this from Summer Wars.
Yeah, Summer Wars, the wars. It's there.
Let's talk about all war. But it's like, it's insane. And now a lot of those guys who were still in Afghanistan and Iraq, like they couldn't even remember why they were there.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like I remember it's like on that documentary series, like some guys were saying, no one even talks about 9/11 anymore. No one remembers it. You know, why are we here? You know, and I'm like, oh God, it's such a sad state of affairs, isn't it? You know, and 2010s, you know, the Arab Spring, that was the most significant period of the last 10 years, because that just gave birth to all of the political instability that we have now.
Yeah.
You know, people like to think that like Donald Trump was like the biggest politically unstable thing. No, God, of course he wasn't. He was a product of what was going on. You know, because people were sick of like the way that, because Barack Obama, bless him, as much as he's a likable guy and, you know, a popular president as an individual, you know, his presidency really didn't define any change.
Yeah.
You know, that people really wanted. You know, he was still a politician. You know, I mean,
still did wars. Still.
You know, the drone warfare did not change under his reign. It didn't. You know, I mean, yes, he got rid of Osama bin Laden, but did anything really change? You know, the troops were still in Afghanistan. They were still in Iraq. You know, were they still in Iraq, or did they come out by then?
The police were still there.
Probably still there, yeah. But it was like
they're probably still there to this day.
Probably. But you know, and now that we've come out of Afghanistan completely, look at what's happened. The Taliban have just immediately retaken over the country.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it was almost as if it was all for nothing. You know, and the election of Donald Trump was just a reason of people being so sick and tired of everything being the same and nothing changing. And what happens is when you have things like that, you get people like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And then when you realize that was kind of a mistake and things got even worse domestically, like race relations plummeted. Like, and that's a number of different things. It's a number of like the you know, society's attitudes towards social, you know, progression and the division that inevitably creates, and political instability. There's a whole manner of things. You know, that's just a byproduct of what's going on. And now we've gone back to a Biden administration who is a return to what we had before, who, you know, he's not really making an impact on anything. You know, Afghanistan has been retaken over by the Taliban. Russia is now invading Ukraine. we are now on the verge of like. It's strange. It's gonna be it's scary. It's unsettling, but we're at a very strange time right now, politically, globally, and socially. And let's just pray that everything.
The 20s is fucked.
The 20. We'll wait and see what the 2020s has in store for the rest of the world and like what we will look like, because it's like we may be coming out of a I say coronavirus hasn't gone anywhere, but you know we are thankfully, hopefully now at a point where we can live with it without it being a serious. As Fergus Walsh said on BBC News, let's make Fergus Walsh a sir. Can we give him a knighthood? That wonderful man. Lee's looking at me with such confusion.
Yeah.
Do you know? Fergus Walsh is the medical editor on BBC News, and he's a lovely man. He's very stylish. Look him up. But like, you know, let's see what happens in the 2020s, and you know, but when we're coming out of coronavirus, shouldn't be another dominating downer on society and our lives anymore. It shouldn't be, because of like our exposure to it and the vaccines and stuff.
Until then, we're going to talk about fun anime movies.
But until then, we're going to talk about fun anime movies and keep everything light and entertained for you all. I do apologize for that tangent that I went.
Dark.
Yeah, I know. I could.
Well, not dark. We just went with kind of a
on a really serious tangent there. But you know, I mean, I think it is important to talk about these things.
I think just today is kind of set.
Today has set the mood because of what has happened today, inevitably. I think it was inevitable that we couldn't talk about it. You know,
I was going to try and leave it a week just to see what happens, because literally, at the time of recording this, the invasion happened at fucking 4 a.m.
It did.
Thereabouts.
You know, and we're still waiting on like what really is going to happen.
And what really is happening.
And what really is happening, exactly.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
There is. So, but you know, let's just all keep each other safe, keep each other well, and keep it clean, as Ian McPake, our lecturer from university, would say. But no, go and watch Summer Wars. You know, it's a fun romp.
Yeah, go try something different. Try some anime.
Try something different, and listen to this podcast. You know, because that's what we're here for. I know we just talked about something that maybe was quite serious and maybe quite a bit of a downer, but it is important to talk about these things, I think.
Oh yeah, real world shit's happening, whether or not.
Yeah, whether or not we like it or not, it is going to happen, and it is still happening, and it is important to talk about this stuff. But at the same time, though, it's also important to be entertained and to enjoy yourself. So I hope that we have managed to do that for you. Yeah. What have you got for me next week, Lee?
I've got like a kind of a list now. I don't know which one to give you. So let's talk about it. We're gonna have a talk about one of my favorite films, done by one of my favorite directors.
Right.
That's English.
Oh, okay.
Well, Western.
Oh,
or
wonderful.
We can go for an anime which has none of the tropes we're talking about today.
Right.
Has an actual protagonist, kind of, who is like, kind of not a bumbly wreck.
Right.
We have a protagonist who's goofy as shit.
Yeah.
Still, and has very good women.
Very good women.
Very good women representation.
Lovely. We love good women.
That's the three I'm thinking of. What do you want?
Well, I tell you what, we'll steer away from anime at the bit
okay.
for a little bit. And we'll go for this film that you've just mentioned with this English Western thing. It's one of your favourite films.
Okay, we're going with Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, marvellous! Brilliant! Brilliant! I've never seen Scott Pilgrim. So
yeah, you mentioned it before.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited about this actually. Yeah, so Mr. Edgar Wright.
Yes, Mr. Edgar Wright, one of my favourite directors.
Yes,
which I still need to see. Last Night in Soho.
Oh, Last Night in Soho. Yes, I've not seen it.
Yeah,
I've not seen that. The only Edgar Wright films I've seen are I've seen Hot Fuzz.
Good, because that's like so good.
That's an excellent film. That's a really good movie. Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, obviously.
I've seen Shaun of the Dead. Obviously, another really good movie. And Baby Driver.
Yes.
Which and bearing in mind, I haven't seen the rest of I haven't seen At World's End.
Good film. It's probably, I was thinking the weakest out of the three of them, like the trilogy.
The Cornetto
but
trilogy, yeah.
There's always going to be a weak one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I've heard like that it's not like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
but
it's great. I like it.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I've not seen that. I've seen bits of it. I've not seen it all the way through. I'm trying to think what else he's done. as I said, I've seen Baby Driver. I went to the cinema to see that, and I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think
that is one of my favorite films.
I think a lot of people have cited that maybe that is his best film.
Yeah, it's just music and editing going hand to hand is just
yeah. It's
my little sound design editor heart just fucking loves
it.
It.
It's so well done. It's so well done. It's so stylistic. It's so cool. The plot's great. The acting's great.
When we were talking about last week, you're talking about like giving someone free reign of what they want to do.
Yeah,
that was a free reign film.
Yeah, and that's it doing it really well, isn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the examples.
Yeah, but yeah. So there's that. What else? Last Night in Soho.
That's his most recent one. He did the documentary on what's that band called?
Oh, Sparks.
Sparks, yes.
Sparks, yeah,
he did that last year as well.
Yeah. Jamie, Jamie, our mutual friend Jamie, who I run a business with and who's also in my band. He hates Sparks, which made me want to listen to them. But yeah, I know that he did that, and I know that he did Last Night in Soho, which I know a lot of people have had mixed reactions on, really, because they weren't expecting it to be like a full-on horror movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like really serious, which is not like Edgar.
Which isn't like Edgar Wright, really. No.
His background, no, but yeah. If you have the idea to do it, you do it.
Yeah, and then of course there's Scott Pilgrim, which I really wanted to watch for research for Rebel.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find it. I was going to try and get it on Blu-ray, but I just couldn't find it in HMV.
Really?
And I'm serious, I couldn't find it. And I even asked about it at the desk, and they were like, yeah, that hasn't been in stock for a while, actually. I don't know why, but no, we haven't got it, sorry. And I was like, oh shit. So then I just gave up, really, and then I just totally forgot about Scott Pilgrim.
If you ever asked, I've had it on Blu-ray for years. If you ever mentioned that, I'd be like, yeah, I've got it.
So that's what you're going to give me, is it?
Yeah, unless it's on Netflix.
Brilliant.
I want to wait.
Is it on Netflix?
We'll have a look.
We'll have a check, yeah, but...
if it's on Netflix, you can watch that, and I'll watch that, because I need to have a refresh.
Have a refresh of it. Yeah, but that's fantastic. I'm really excited to watch that, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Honestly, I've got the game. Need to replay the game, actually. The game's really weird, right? So it came out on Xbox 360.
Right.
It was like a 2D beat 'em up type thing.
Right.
And then got pulled completely. You could not get it anywhere.
Wow, really?
For years and years. And then last year, they finally re-released it.
Wow.
So I've got it on the Switch.
Jeez. And was it like a movie-based game, or was it?
It's based more off the comic.
Off the comic, right?
Like all the art styles off the comic.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, really fun game.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to watch it then. Brilliant.
Really fun film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Until then.
Yes.
Farewell.
Bye. Already gone.